children. This video is in continuity with the previous video of the chapter Human Health and Diseases. The various objectives we are going to cover in this video are acquired or adaptive immunity, important features of acquired immunity, types of cells in acquired immunity, structure of antibodies or immunoglobulins, and mechanism of action of antibody. So first of all, what is acquired immunity? It is immunity acquired after birth. Acquired immunity is also called specific immunity because it is a pathogen specific. It has the ability to recognize and selectively eliminate specific microorganisms. It supplements the protection provided by innate or inborn immunity. It is initiated in response to an exposure to the foreign antigen or the pathogen that enters the body. It may take several days for this defense mechanism to get activated after the foreign antigen has entered the body. That is, it is able to pass through the non-specific defense mechanism. It is characterized by memory. So what are the important features of acquired immunity? Pathogen specificity. So when we talk about pathogen specificity, that is, acquired immunity has the ability to recognize a vast variety of foreign molecules or antigens or pathogens. So our immune system can recognize millions of different antigens. Even it is said that B and T cells are of so many types that they may encounter so many antigens which they have so far not recognized in the body also. Next is discrimination between self and non-self, means discrimination between the body cells and non-body cells. It refers to the ability of the immune system to recognize the molecules of one's own body, that is the self, from those of foreign or non-self molecules. This ability to distinguish self from non-self enables the immune system to battle foreign molecules and cells without harming the healthy body cells of its own. Next in the row we'll be discussing about memory. It means when the first time a pathogen invades the body, the lymphocytes of immune system generate an immune response called primary response, and they form memory cells. The immune system retains the memory of this encounter, that is, they are the memory cells. As a result, when second time the body is invaded by the same pathogen, the memory cells initiate the response quickly and produce a heightened immune response called secondary response. Memory cells can survive for several decades, and this is the reason why people rarely get chickenpox a second time after they have it once, because of memory cells for which vaccinations are so effective. The immune system has a remarkable memory. It can remember antigens it has encountered before and react against them more promptly and vigorously on second and subsequent exposures. So talking about types of cells in acquired immunity. Acquired immunity employs two major types of granular lymphocytes. We have done in the previous video. WBCs are of two types, agranular and granular. So here these are granular lymphocytes present in our blood. These are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes are also called B cells. T lymphocytes are called T cells. Both B and T cells need an exposure to antigen to trigger them into action. That is to do a particular task. Both B and T cells develop from the precursor cells called stem cells in the bone marrow. The process of formation of these B and T cells in bone marrow is called hematopoiesis. Hemato word comes for blood and poiesis means formation. From the bone marrow, some immature lymphocytes, that is the stem cell destined to become thymocytes, migrate to thymus. These cells in thymus only, these cells mature as T cells. The B cells remain in the bone marrow and mature in the marrow itself. Now talking about B lymphocytes in detail. They produce an army of proteins in response to pathogens into our blood. These proteins are called antibodies. Since these antibodies are present in the blood, hence this immune response is called humoral immune response. Humoral immunity When antigen attacks the body, the lymphocytes are produced. These lymphocytes produce specific antibodies that bind to a particular antigen and renders it inactive. Next, we'll be talking about cell-mediated immune response. So here in this, T lymphocytes, they are actually involved. They themselves do not secrete antibodies, but helps the B cells to produce them. Since these lymphocytes themselves attack the antigens, the immune response by them is called cell-mediated immunity. So in this we can now see how actually the B and T cells, they are produced and how come they mature. So both kinds of lymphocytes, that are B and T cells, they originate from stem cells in the bone marrow. Some of the stem cells migrate to the thymus gland, that is an endocrine gland lying near the heart, and form T lymphocytes, while some are processed in the bone marrow and form B lymphocytes or B cells. B cells migrate to the lymphoid tissue like liver, spleen, of lymph nodes for final maturity. And T cells constantly leave the thymus and pass to lymph nodes and spleen, and hence both get activated. Now talking about structure of antibodies or immunoglobulins. Each antibody or immunoglobulin is made up of polypeptide chains. There are two identical short polypeptide chains known as light chains or L chains. There are two identical long polypeptide chains called heavy chains. And each antibody is represented as H2L2, means two heavy chains and two light chains. Now each of the light chain is bonded to one of the heavy chain. So here we can say the light chain is bonded to the heavy chain. The four polypeptide chains are held together by disulfide bonds forming Y-shaped molecule. The two topmost tips of Y-shaped molecule are antigen binding sites. They recognize and bind to a specific antigen in a lock and key fashion. That is, a specific antibody will work against a particular antigen, so forming an antigen-antibody complex. Both the arms of Y-shape have the same antigen binding sites and recognize the same antigen. So talking about the shape, each of the four chains has a constant region. This one is the constant region, the stem part, and the upper one is the variable region. Due to variable regions, there is a huge variety in the shapes of antigen binding sites. Hence, different antibodies can react to different antigens. The stem of the antibodies is formed by the constant region of the heavy chain. In mammals, including humans, there are basically 5 types of immunoglobulins, namely IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG, and IgM. We can learn it with a simple mnemonic, that is GAME-D. Now talking about the functions of different antibodies. First of all, we'll be talking about immunoglobulin A. It is the main form of antibody in the external body secretions such as saliva and mother's milk, and it attacks pathogens before they reach the bloodstream. Next is IgD, present as receptors on the surface of B lymphocytes, and it is found in extremely low quantity in the circulation. Serve as a receptor for antigen on B lymphocytes, that is activation of B cells. Next, IgE, present as membrane-bound receptor on basophils, that is a type of granulocyte in blood, and on mast cells in tissues. They promote the release of histamines and other agents in allergic reactions. Next is IgG, that is immunoglobulin G, most abundant antibody, approximately 75% it is present in the blood plasma in circulation. Only antibody that can cross placenta, that is an intimate connection between the mother and the developing fetus. Stimulation of phagocytes attacks pathogens and bacterial toxins as well, provides passive immunity to fetus. Passive means ready-made immunity, in which the body cells are not producing antibodies. In turn, the fetus is getting antibodies from the mother. Next is IgM, present as receptor on lymphocyte surface, and it is the first type of antibody to be secreted during primary response. Causes activation of B cells and promotes clumping of cells by causing antigen containing particles to stick together. So various terms we'll be discussing which are used to describe specific immunity. First is antigen. These are large and complex foreign molecules, mainly proteins, that activate specific immunity in the body. The immune system of our body can recognize a large number of antigens that may enter the body. An antigen could be any germ like virus or bacteria or any foreign molecule that triggers immune reaction in the body. Now next is antigenic determination sites. A large antigen may have several parts, each part stimulating a different specific immune response. In such cases, the different parts are known as antigenic determinant sites, and each one serves as a different antigen. These sites on the antigen are recognized by the antibodies and receptors present on T and B cells. So here we have shown in this image antigenic determinants shown on different arms of this antigen. Talking about antibodies, they refer to specific glycoproteins released by plasma cells on stimulation by B cells. And of course, we have discussed a specific antibody binds to a specific antigen according to lock and key hypothesis. Antigen-antibody reaction. When a foreign antigen enters the body, it triggers the immune reaction, as a result of which antibodies are released. And these antibodies bind with specific antigen, causing antigen-antibody reaction. There is always a specific antibody for a specific antigen that binds with it. So this is the antigen binding fragment which is going to bind with a specific antigen. So the shapes are shown. How come they are going to bind with each other? A specific shape is going to fit in a specific one. Now, what is the mechanism of antibody action? Antibodies may be bound to the cell membranes like in B cells or may remain free in the immune system. The free antibodies destroy or neutralize the invading microbes by forming antigen-antibody complexes, and it is by three means, either by agglutination or opsonization or neutralization. So talking about binding of antibodies to antigens, first is agglutination. It refers to the clumping together of bacteria, viruses or other foreign cells. Next is opsonization. It means coating of bacteria or viruses to facilitate their subsequent phagocytosis, that is engulfing of foreign particles by WBCs. Next is neutralization. In neutralization, the antibodies physically block harmful antigens or the toxins released by bacteria, making them harmless. Ultimately, they are destroyed by, again, phagocytosis. So here in this picture, it is quite clear. First, we were discussing about agglutination, that is clumping together of bacteria or viruses or other foreign cells. Next, we have discussed about opsonization, and the last was neutralization. In neutralization, the antibodies physically block harmful antigens or toxins released by bacteria, making them harmless. So ultimately, all these components, this interaction could be precipitation, complement system. In complement system, it leads to phagocytosis, inflammation, and even it causes cell lysis. So here in this, opsonization is there. So antigen-antibody complexes activate the complement system and triggers its antibacterial activity. Right? So thank you so much. We'll be continuing in the next video with the next topic.